Before you buy for yourself another loose powder, watch this video because today I'm going to help you understand what is the difference between a setting powder and a loose powder, and I'm going to help you choose the powder which is best for you. Today I'm going to review two of the most famous loose powders, which is Chanel and Laura Mercier. I'm going to apply them both to two sides of my face and you will clearly be able to see the difference, hopefully. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Anna and this channel is a cozy community of friends where we discuss beauty, style, fashion, travel and so much more. By the way, before we start this video, I wanted to say, in case nobody told you this today yet, is that you are wonderful and you are enough just the way you are, and I am so proud of you for taking all of the little steps you do every day to make your life better. So let's start. These two powders are both loose powders and are both a setting powder. So let's start with the main thing. What is the difference between a setting powder and a loose powder? There is not a lot of difference. A setting powder is a broader term than a loose powder. Setting powder can be loose powder or pressed powder. That is the powder that you use to set your makeup. So you can have it pressed or loose. And loose powder is a kind of a setting powder. So both of these powders are loose and setting. Let's start with Chanel powder. The full name of this powder is Natural Finish Loose Powder, or Poudre Universelle Libre in French. It has a wonderful, beautiful packaging. Obviously, the packaging of this powder is more luxurious than of Laura Mercier powder. Inside, you have 30 grams, I believe, and inside of this one, you have 29 grams. So you have about the same amount of product in both, but this one looks bigger because of a luxurious packaging that you have. The price of Chanel powder is 58 euro in Europe. When you open it, you have this Chanel puff that you can use to apply your powder. Chanel really advises you to use it in order to apply the powder to your face, but I don't use it. I don't find it comfortable. I believe that the ones that have triangular shape are better and easier to use. Usually I just use my brush. In order to apply my loose powder, I always use this setting brush from Real Techniques, and once you remove the Chanel applicator, you have the powder which you get through the little holes here in the center. I use this powder in a shade 30. Chanel powder has 4 shades, 10, 20, 30 and 40. First, I was quite hesitant about getting shade 30 because I thought it's going to be too dark, but it definitely isn't dark, although I have quite fair skin. Sometimes I use a self-tanner, but generally my skin looks really like light colored. Shade 30 fits me very, very well. This powder is not translucent powder, but once you apply it on your skin, it almost feels like translucent. It looks really, really natural. You really don't notice that color that it has. Moving on to Laura Mercier powder. Inside of Laura Mercier powder, you don't have any applicator. You just have the powder and the little holes here in the center through which you get the powder. I have Laura Mercier powder in a shade translucent. So this powder is supposed to be completely translucent, although it doesn't look super white like some translucent setting loose powders look. You know, I used to have a few drugstore loose setting powders which were supposed to be translucent. Some of you probably had them too, and they were like so white, like you couldn't understand how they are supposed to turn out translucent in the end, because when you apply it, they just look like white cast on your face. At some point, this used to be like a trendy thing, and it was called baking, when you put this white setting powder on your face, and it is supposed to kind of blend all together, but for some reason it never turned out like on YouTube videos of famous makeup artists for me. So both of these powders will not end up looking white on your face. You don't need to be a professional in baking of your makeup with these powders. Both of them will end up looking quite naturally. The translucent powder of Laura Mercier is obviously a little bit lighter than a powder from Chanel, but in Laura Mercier you also have two other colors which are darker. You have a color honey and a color medium deep if you want to have some darker shades. And I wanted to tell you the price. The price of this one is 49 euro here in Europe. So you have a difference of about 10 euro, 9 euro. You have the difference between the two powders. As you have the same amount of product, the 10 euro that you pay more is probably just for the beautiful packaging and for luxury Chanel brand. Each of these powders lasted me for at least a year already, and I keep going. So I think if you use this powder once every 2 days, it will last you for 1.5 years, I think. Let's start with Chanel. I think is going to go on the right side and Laura Mercier will go on the left side. My face is quite shiny already right now. I didn't use any powder today. When I was doing my makeup, I just applied a CC cream from Chanel. I used bronzer from Rare Beauty. This is a rare bronzer stick in a shade Bright Side. And also I had a blush, which I think is Rare Beauty blush as well. You will see that both powders take away the shine immediately, and the main purpose of these powders is not only to take away the shine, but also to set your makeup, to make your makeup last so much longer, and also blur out the pores, all the like imperfections that you want to hide. They will help you also, like small wrinkles, fine lines, they will able to smooth them out. But if you have a pimple, like a breakout, this is not a kind of powder that you want to use. In my experience, when I have a breakout, this kind of setting loose powder is going to only bring the accent to that pimple. Then I would use like a mattifying pressed powder to set that breakout. But just on my shiny face, on the places where I have bigger pores, like in here, I'm generally using a loose powder like that. So the right side is going to be Chanel. Let's start. And now moving on to Laura Mercier on the left side. Also, I have to say that Laura Mercier almost has no scent, while Chanel powder has the typical Chanel scent that you usually get in their products. Both powders are now on my face, and to be honest, I expected more of a difference. I really felt that Laura Mercier powder is going to look more cakey than Chanel powder, but in the end, if you look at me right now, they will probably look exactly the same for you. Maybe Laura Mercier is a little bit lighter than Chanel shade 30. It looks lighter even in the jar, so that is obvious. It doesn't look completely translucent, this powder. It still has a light shade, so if you have like darker skin tone, translucent powder from Laura Mercier is definitely not going to be for you. Also, Laura Mercier feels a little bit more drying to your skin than Chanel, and that's why I expected it to get inside of fine lines more and put an accent on fine lines more, but I think everything looks about the same, and the size of the pore looks about the same, as well as some little lines that I have underneath my eyes. I think they look about the same on both sides. So is Chanel worth the price that you pay for it? Is it so much better than Laura Mercier? I can't say so, but I think it is just a little bit more moisturizing on your face. It's not really moisturizing, it's less drying, let's say. If I analyze how long lasting these powders are, I would say they are about the same as well. So it's up to you to choose if you want to pay extra for luxury packaging, or if you are afraid that Laura Mercier is going to be too drying for you, you should go for Chanel. But generally these both powders have really high quality, and they are great for setting your makeup. They are really blurring out the pores here really nicely. I know that for some people this is a concern of theirs, and with a powder like this, or if you have some like smile lines in here. Once you apply the powder, like first half an hour, you look flawless. Everything is blurred out, especially if you apply a primer before the foundation, then your skin is going to look amazing. But then of course all of the products will start getting into the lines and everything. You will not look as flawless after a few hours, but it will still look nice. Another thing that I wanted to say is that before I started using these loose powders, I used only pressed powders, and I had to reapply pressed powder throughout the day all the time. I was carrying it in my purse all the time, and I was feeling that my nose is starting to get like too glowy, and I start getting like oily, and I would reapply my powder. After I started using loose powders, I don't need to reapply them. I use them only in the morning before leaving home, and during the day I don't feel the need to reapply. I don't feel too oily or shiny. They last the whole day. Of course, this blurring effect doesn't last the whole day, but the setting effect definitely lasts the whole day. I really hope that this review was useful for you. Please share with me which setting and loose powders are your favorites. I am really curious to find out. Don't forget to push the like button if you like this video, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you very soon. Bye.